He didn't say a word, he didn't have to. In the middle of a crowded airport, a little black boy froze, his small hand clutching a worn backpack. Across the hall, a police dog suddenly stiffened, ears high, eyes locked on him. The officer beside it followed the gaze, confused but alert. People kept moving, unaware that something unspoken had just passed between a frightened child and a trained K9. Within seconds, that silent signal would uncover a truth no one expected. A truth that would shake every person in that terminal. What did the dog sense, and what secret was the boy carrying? It had been an ordinary morning at the city airport. Travelers hurried through long glass corridors. Announcements echoed softly, and the smell of coffee hung in the air. Among them walked Maya, a tired young mother, and her 8-year-old son Noah. They had one small suitcase, one backpack, and a one-way ticket. It wasn't a vacation. They were leaving behind something painful, something she hadn't yet explained to him. Noah was quiet, his big brown eyes searching every corner. He clutched his backpack close, as if guarding something precious. Maya smiled faintly, though her hands trembled as she handed their documents to the security officer. She whispered a small prayer, just to make it through the day without another confrontation. On the other side of the checkpoint, Officer Daniels began his morning patrol. Years on the K9 unit had trained him to spot danger before it spoke. His partner Rex, a disciplined German shepherd, moved in perfect sync with him, sniffing, scanning, watching. Everything seemed normal until Rex paused. The dog's ears lifted, his gaze locking onto a small boy standing near the waiting area. Daniels followed his line of sight. Just a child clutching a bag too tightly, standing too still. A quiet signal from Rex told him something wasn't right. Daniel straightened, instincts sharp. He'd learned long ago that danger didn't always come from where you expected. And in that moment, two paths, one of duty, one of fear, were about to collide in a way that neither of them could forget. Rex's low growl broke through the background hum of the terminal. Officer Daniels tightened his grip on the leash, his senses sharpening. Something in the boy's stillness, the way his eyes darted between exits, tugged at his instincts. Daniels had seen that look before, not guilt, not defiance, but fear. He began to walk closer. The mother, Maya, noticed first. Her breath caught. She turned slightly, placing a protective hand on Noah's shoulder. The boy didn't flinch, but his fingers clutched the straps of his backpack until his knuckles turned white. "Easy, Rex," Daniels murmured under his breath. The dog's nose twitched, tracing invisible trails in the air. Each step closer seemed to pull the tension tighter, like a thread about to snap. Travelers moved around them, oblivious. A man checking his phone brushed past. A woman laughed softly as she adjusted her luggage. To everyone else, it was just another morning. But for the boy and the officer, the world had narrowed into a quiet, electric space where every heartbeat mattered. Daniel stopped a few feet away. "Ma'am," he said gently, "everything all right here?" Maya nodded too quickly. Yes, officer, we're fine." Her voice trembled and her eyes flicked toward the boy's bag. Daniels caught it. The subtle glance. The tiny pause. The kind of thing most people would miss, but not him. Rex stepped forward, sniffing the air, tail rigid. The boy took a small step back, clutching the bag tighter. Daniels noticed the faint sound, a soft rhythmic clicking from inside the bag. Too faint for others to hear, but he caught it. His hand hovered near his radio. "Son," he said quietly, "what's in the bag?" Noah looked up at him, eyes wide, full of something between terror and pleading. He opened his mouth, but no words came. Instead, he gave a slow, deliberate motion, his hand brushing the side of his thigh twice. Rex froze. His ears perked. That was the signal, the silent one used in K9 training to mark distress. Daniel's heartbeat spiked. The boy wasn't threatening anyone, he was asking for help. In an instant, everything shifted. Daniels crouched to meet his eyes. "You're safe," he whispered. "It's okay." But before he could say another word, the mother's voice broke the air. "Please just don't open it." Heads turned. People stopped. The airport's calm shattered as curiosity turned to fear. Rex barked sharply, drawing the attention of nearby officers. Daniel's training told him to secure the area, but his gut told him something else entirely. He looked at the boy again. Noah's lips quivered. A single tear traced his cheek. And in that moment, Daniels realized the danger wasn't from the boy. It was something else. Something inside that bag that no one, not even Maya, wanted to face. The terminal grew silent again, seconds stretching like minutes. The K9 stood tense, ready to move. Daniels took a breath. All right, he said softly. Let's see what this is about. Daniels knelt slowly, meeting the boy's tear-filled eyes. Around them, the terminal had gone completely still. The murmur of travelers, the echo of footsteps, everything seemed to fade beneath the hum of tension. Noah, he said softly, I need to see what's in your bag. The boy hesitated, his little hands trembling. Maya's voice cracked through the silence. Please, she whispered, he didn't do anything wrong. Rex let out a low whine, pacing once before sitting at Noah's side, pressing his nose gently against the child's leg, as if comforting him. The gesture disarmed Daniels more than any words could. This wasn't fear of guilt. It was fear of being misunderstood. Slowly, Noah lifted the zipper. Inside wasn't metal, wasn't wires, wasn't danger. It was a small worn police badge, tarnished but polished by tiny fingers. Daniels blinked, confused. Noah pulled it out, holding it with both hands. It was my dad's, he whispered finally, voice breaking. He was a police officer. Before he died. Maya covered her mouth, tears falling silently. Daniels felt the weight in his chest sink. Rex nudged the badge gently with his nose, then looked up at Daniels, tail wagging once softly. It was as if the dog understood before anyone else. Maya took a trembling breath. We were moving away, she said, voice shaking. I told him not to bring it. I thought people might misunderstand. Daniels closed his eyes for a moment, realizing the cruel irony. A child carrying a memory of his father had been seen as a threat. He looked around at the small crowd that had gathered, faces of curiosity and suspicion softening into shame. Then he reached out, placing his hand over Noah's. Your dad would be proud you kept this, he said quietly. The boy nodded, clutching the badge close. The moment hung there, fragile, painful, but pure. And then, for the first time, Daniel smiled. Let's make sure his memory is seen for what it really is, he added. The tension broke. Rex barked once, clear, bright, like a sound of release, and the whole terminal seemed to exhale. The tension that had gripped the terminal slowly melted into silence. Officer Daniels rose to his feet, gently helping Maya and Noah stand. The people who had stopped to watch now turned away, some in quiet guilt, others in reflection. What had moments ago looked like suspicion now looked like a misunderstanding too familiar, too painful to ignore. Rex sat obediently beside the boy, his tail brushing lightly against the floor. Noah smiled faintly for the first time, resting his small hand on the dog's head. He reminds me of Dad's dog, he whispered. Daniel's throat tightened. Was your father on the force here? Maya nodded, eyes red. He was. He died trying to protect someone during a robbery. But afterward, things changed. People looked at us differently. Her voice faltered. That's why we're leaving. Too many reminders. Daniels looked down at the boy again. This brave little soul who had carried his father's memory like a secret burden. You don't have to hide who you come from, he said quietly. That badge isn't something to be afraid of, it's a story worth keeping alive. Noah looked up, the faintest glimmer of pride returning to his eyes. The police badge gleamed softly in his hands, catching a beam of sunlight streaming through the window. A symbol no longer of fear, but of honor. Daniels turned to Maya. If you ever come back, he said, I'd like to show him where his father served. Maybe even introduce him to the team. Maya's lips trembled into a smile. He'd like that, she whispered. As they walked away, the crowd began to move again. Life resumed, check-ins, goodbyes, boarding calls. But for Daniels, something inside had shifted. That moment, brief as it was, had revealed more truth than any report could. He watched the little boy disappear into the sunlight beyond the gates. A small figure carrying a big lesson. Because sometimes the scariest moments aren't about what's hidden in a bag. They're about what we fail to see in each other.